Hi and welcome back if you just came here from seeing how to coat the scone pan. If you did not, that's a video before this one. This is part 2, and I had made my favorite cake, vanilla cake, which is the Lorelei recipe, Lorelei Carvey's cake that I got from her lovely cookbook, and I'll put the link down below for you to see her channel. And I'm going to fill the cupcake wedges with this. I'm going to take a large spoon that's kind of pointing at the end to do this. Now what you want to do is fill them halfway. So that's about a little bit more than a scoop with the spoon. And then the next thing you do is you take a offset spatula, and I like this Wilton one because again it has the pointiness on the end, more like a wedge, not so round. You can use the other one too, but this is the one I prefer for doing this to get into this area. So you just take this and you just kind of push everything over and into the point, of course. So these cakes are not huge, but they do serve a little bit more than a cupcake, I think, because what we do after they're baked, you cut them in half lengthwise and then you fill them. So they do give a nice little serving of cake. Probably even up to 2 people would be satisfied with just eating one. It should look like this when it's done, and I have a lot of batter left over because I used a full recipe, and I'm going to make cupcakes from this, which will be perfect because I do need one cupcake to put in the center when I'm done with all of it. Put in the oven for 350, and I'll show you how they look when they start rising and what they look like right before you should take them out. This is after 8 minutes, and you can tell it is not ready yet. It's definitely needs of about, I'm gonna look at it after 3 minutes, and then we'll see how it looks. Now it looks a lot more pillowy, like pillows. And I'm gonna give it just 1 more minute, but it's been 12 minutes. One thing that the death of cakes is to open an oven before it's ready, because that's what makes them fall in the middle. Because if they're not ready in the middle and they're not baked, then they collapse and they're doughy, and then you have a cake you have to throw in the trash. So another thing you want to look for is that it's pulling away from the sides a little bit, and that it is a little bit golden on top. Here they are with the oven open. Sorry about the beeping sound. And you can see they're done. There's just a little bit of crumbs on them, which that's a good sign. You just want a couple crumbs. So I ended up having them in the oven for 16 minutes total because they still need to be just a tiny bit more done and pulling away from the sides. But as you can see here, they are definitely pulling away from the sides. See how it is over here and here? And they got a nice billowy, pillowy top on them, so when I go like this, it feels like a pillow and it bounces back. And then of course when I put the skewer in there, it grabbed a few extra than I really wanted, and so when I went back and put it in for another few minutes, I took a skewer and it just had a couple crumbs on it, and that's how you want it exactly. So sometimes people say no crumbs, but I have learned that a couple crumbs are fine too, and it makes it super moist if you don't overbake, because you definitely don't want to overbake or underbake. So now this is ready, and I'm going to take my serrated knife that I always use for cutting my cakes out, and I'm just going to go around it, each one, kind of go up and down, and do that to each one. Next thing I'm going to do is take them out. So I found this to be the best thing to use, because I tried a fork and the little offset spatula, and the thing that worked the best for me was the rubber spatula. So what I'm going to do is just put it on the ends. For some reason these are a little bit delicate to take out. I think it's, I don't know why, because it's cake, I don't know. So you just kind of have to wiggle it in here. And then you lift it up a little bit underneath, and because the spatula is rubbery, it seems to be the best thing to grab underneath so you don't break it. And then you bring it to the ends like this. And you have to make sure that the bottom does not come apart, because I'm going to be cutting it this way so we can fill it in the middle. So I'm not gonna lie, these are not easy to come out, but if you're careful, they do come out pretty nice, and you definitely have to prep the pan right, otherwise it would be impossible. Now what you wanna do is freeze these. I always freeze all my cakes. It keeps in the moisture, and I use a press and seal to freeze my cakes. And you have to individually wrap them. A tip, when you do wrap them, make sure the bottoms are just flat, and you bring all the other part up to the top, because you do not want to put an indentation on the bottom when they're frozen. And then you want to just put them in one layer in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer for a few hours or overnight, or even up to a month. If they're wrapped really good, you can do that. These do take more time than cupcakes, but when it's done you'll see why, and because you fill them and it just turns out super cute at the end like a cake, and it's worth it. But if you do these to sell, I would definitely charge more than I would if I'm just making cupcakes. Now, freezing my cupcakes, all I do is just take them and I just simply just put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them like that. I don't have to wrap them. Hey, so it's done and everything's in the freezer. Tomorrow I'm gonna finish the cake, and it's my dad's 88th birthday, so that's a big number. So I want to make it a very special cake for him, and I hope you all are having a great day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Dad's 88th birthday again, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, what colors, and see the finished cake. Thanks for watching. Why is this making a clanging noise? Oh my gosh. Oh. Stop the clanging noise. So now I'm on my porch in my swing chair. Swing.